Good evening again. F.J. Williams, representing Metropolitan Holdings. Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I
sir.
call on you because, I feel offended what you said to me. And I remember when I came down here about the buses, you told me to go to the zoning board. I
Correct.
went to the zoning board. The zoning board said, come back to you. I come back to you. You said, well, you got to go to the zoning board again. Now, I got Mr. Sims represents the neighborhood. Each time I call Mr. Sims and ask him what's going on, and I talk to him, Mr. Sims can never tell me. So he says, I don't handle that. I didn't know of this meeting. And when I said Caucasian and black, I'm not calling any, knocking anybody down. If the police would stop somebody out there and you said something happened to you, the first thing to ask, what did he look like? Was he Caucasian or black? That's how you describe it. I don't know any other way to describe it. I don't know the person's name when I say go into the Apollo. And just like the police, when I call the police respond. But like they said, they're busy. And I just don't understand it. Why is it every time I go to speak, you always say, Mr. Williams there. And you basically shuts me up. And I had a problem with Mr. Borelli. He's a liability to the city. When he came here and when they went for the variance, he said on the oath, he lied on the oath. If I lie on the oath, you'll prosecute me, but you never do anything. And I got to say one thing and give thing with the only person I think, several up there, and I applaud you, Miss, I can't pronounce your name, you know quite a bit about what's going on. And when I say something, Mr. Mayor, I've experienced it. I've experienced the Renaissance in Harlem when Mayor Couch offered all the blacks a brownstone. That's when I speak. I'm referring for that. Now, they got the brownstones, but you had to get backing from a bank to rehab them within 30 days. And if you didn't, you lost it. And so this is what I'm saying to you. I'm not talking because I did some other thing. And Mr. Attorney, I'd like to ask you one question, sir. What does it say is above the Supreme Court when you go in there? The United States Supreme Court. What does it say?
In reference to what, Mr. Williams?
Justice. It says equal justice under law. I don't get that, but I'm paying taxes. But whenever I come here, I can never say anything. You make me think that I'm stupid. I learned a little bit. You know what I mean? But you forced me to go in. I got everything from the state related to the buses. But you knocked me down on every corner. You tried to kill my spirit. You can't kill my spirit because I've been through this. I'm an old man. And like I say, what's happening? Mr. Sims, I said to you, I've called you several times, and I told you the last time what the state said about the buses. You can never give me information. And they told me you were learning. Okay, I'm not on the council. I could have ran for council because I know a little bit more than you. And every time I try to share something with you, you say, Mr. Williams, I don't have time. I'm tired of that. Now, the 10th of this month, I got to go pay my taxes, but I get no information. And I don't want to say, brother, hell, I'm paying the taxes. Mr. Councilman, what's going on in the neighborhood? But the only thing I have is, I got something for the kids, I got a basketball. I want to know what's happening to my taxes because when they go up, it affects me. You can't get more money from the tenants. Please, find out what's going on, and when I call you, ask you, tell me. Now, I've had that experience. You've been helping me in some things, but everything related to the buses, you haven't helped me. And every time I call the police about what's going on, the neighborhood is going down. You wouldn't want those buses where you are. And now, like I heard the lady say, it went from 25 to 35. Mr. Borelli lied on the application. But has anybody said anything? That's a liability to the city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'll vote for you.
Deborah Keeling Geddes, Hamilton Place. On May 14th, 2013, the residents of Hackensack said it was time for a change, and the 5 of you were voted into the position of city council. You came out of the gate like champs, making swift and meaningful changes that set the course for the revival of Hackensack. Your victory gave us hope that we would soon see our town start to breathe again after being sucked dry of its oxygen with the last administration. Myself and others in this room tonight worked our you-know-what's off to get you elected and to help make this change. There is no bigger supporter of you than I. I'm not afraid to say it, and I'm not ashamed to say it. But now, it seems like some outside noise has been distracting some of our council members. And I'm here to tell you that it's time to put on your blinders and your earplugs, and don't let the noise of the haters steer you away from the path that you've started to move this city forward. Do not give your enemies the means of your destruction. That's an African proverb. Do not give your enemies the means of your destruction. These people that come up here, they never have anything good to say to you. None of the good things that you have done these past few months, they never come up here and say anything good that you've done. And you'd let them, well, you have to let them come up here and say it. But what I am saying, because they can't run stuff, they want to make other people's lives miserable, just like theirs. It needs to stop, Mr. Gelber. Do not give your enemies the means of your destruction. Every time he comes up here, he's digging for dirt. Dirt, 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 dirt. Don't you ever have anything positive to say?
Yeah, hire a good city manager, I'll give you something.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. You know what? As much dirt as you digging out on them, you should have digged that with the Board of Education while your brother got fired. Spend some more time checking that out.
Please. I'm going to close the meeting instantly if we don't get some order, please.
I don't want to hear about Mr. Rotino's foreclosures or whatever. What I know is that this city council put him in the position because they knew he could do the job. And if they say anything more different, then they're lying. I'm not going to sit here and let them talk about this man who was instrumental in getting them in the seats that they're in.
Please. From the audience, no comment, please.
You chose them to be in your inner circle because you knew they could get the job done. And guess what? That's what they're doing. Mr. Rotino is proving to be a decisive leader who takes tough stands to do what is right and requires people to do their job. He's not going to please everybody. He knows that. Nobody is perfect. They know that. He is a people person and he puts a lot of hours in, more than that's what's required. And he's helped to change the climate in City Hall. We have employees who have said that, employees who have said that. He's making the job titles clearer to the employees. He's helped retrieve monies owed to the city that the past administration didn't get. He sold a property on Polyfly Road for $150,000, double of what the past administration was asking of the property. He's meeting with developers and working up short-term tax incentives. Guess what? I did a little homework myself. He saved the city $400,000 with the human services moved, helped implement Project Prive, found this county grant that was dead. okay, and so on and so on. He's working to get a village, transit village application to the through the Department of Transportation. Come on, guys. You know, he's not a yes man. He's not a puppet. He's not going to do something that's unethical or illegal. Is he going to make everybody happy? No. But I think that he has proven thus far that he's here to help Hackensack, which is more than I can say for others. Now, a few months ago, Councilwoman Greenman voted no to keep former city manager Steve Loacano in his job. She lost the vote. She put her big girl panties on and worked with him the best she could. She, along with many others, weren't at all happy to keep him, but respected the decision of the council in a democratic process. We voted in 5 city council members, not 1, not 2, but 5, knowing that you were independent thinkers and would vote to do what was best for the city. Everybody said they were tired of the rubber stamp. We got rid of the rubber stamp. You're going to win some votes, you're going to lose some votes. But that's the democratic process. Put on your big girl pants, your big boy pants, and stop the tantrums. It's not becoming, and it's becoming embarrassing. Please focus on the redevelopment, on the potholes, on our new recreation center, on cleaning up the financial mess that was left by this past administration, and you will be all right. Okay? Everybody's not gonna like Tom. Everybody's not gonna like Anthony. Everybody's not gonna like Mordaga, but you hired them because you knew they could do the job. They renewed his contract. Okay? Don't let your enemies be the means of your destruction.
Mildred Dodson, 60 Vanderbeck Place, Hackensack, New Jersey. Oh, I'm sorry. Mildred Dodson, Vanderbeck Place, Hackensack. I just came to address one thing, because as I was sitting in my house, strolling on my Facebook, a statement came across my Facebook in reference to what Mr. Sims had said to a person as he introduced himself. Now, I don't expect you all to understand the head nigger in charge accusation that Mr. Sims supposedly have said to someone that felt embarrassed. Now, I don't know if they felt embarrassed because they never heard the name nigger or they never heard the word in charge, but they all come together. I am the new head nigger in charge. That's what we say. Not to you all, just to us. It's something that we say amongst ourselves. Nothing for you to grab a hold of and print it to make him feel bad, like he said something so disgraceful to his race. Sims don't disgrace his race at all. Never did, never will. Not at the high school, not at the park, and not down here. Like Ms. Geddes said, we worked hard. We worked hard in our black community to get you in because you chose Sims to come along with you. But make no mistake about it, we don't support the accusations that come across Facebook about Sims. If a black person got something to say about Sims, they know where he lived, they know where he worked, and they know me. Can you tell Mr. Sims I need to see him? I have an issue. But we will not tolerate anybody that say that they got offensive because he said if he said it, because we don't know if he did or not. If he said it, who did he offend? You know what offends me? Afro-American. That's what offends me. I don't know jack about Africa. My parents, my grandparents worked here in America. I'm Black American. Now, if I want to get a job and my boss make me the boss of my department, and if I want to say to my sisters or my friends outside, well, they just made me head nigga in charge. That's me. That's what I chose to say. If it offends them, they never say it does. I worked at Hackensack University Medical Center for years. I was called the nigger at least 25 times that I was there. So don't get misconstrued about who called niggers and who don't call the niggers. Because we know who called the niggers. And just because we say, I'm head nigger in charge, don't mean we are disrespecting anybody. It's just something that we say.
And that's the truth.
Now don't clap, you don't have to.
Hi, everyone. Tony Haverty on Berry Street in Hackensack.
Evening.
I just want to comment on some of the things I heard tonight. Disgusting. Politics is being played here. It's all politics. It's nothing different. It hasn't changed. It's politics. You, 5 people, we elected you to make decisions. And I agree. You hired people because you felt that they could do the job. It's up to you to decide who you want to work with. Whatever is going on here, all this political wrangling, put your blinders on. You do what you feel you need to do for this city. We work very hard to get you here. And I tell you, I would really hate to see any divisiveness going on in the group. Stick together, do what you have to do, make Hackensack your priority, make doing that what needs to be done here, that is what's most important. And I really felt offended by some of the things I heard. I don't know if those things are true. It's hearsay as far as I'm concerned. Everybody's personal business is their personal business. We have to get down to the business of making Hackensack a great place to live. Let's cut the wrangling, cut the haters, do your job. Thank you.
Deborah LaBrosse, 18 Brook Street. When you were elected, I was thrilled. For years, we fought against what we felt was unethical running of the city. When they hired you, Mr. Scrivo, I was thrilled. They told me you wrote the book on ethics. Now, I spoke in my house to all of you. And I said, it doesn't matter who's in there, you or them. If I feel that something's wrong, I'm going to speak up. Mr. Otino. No, actually, Mr. Scrivo.
Roommate, please.
May I speak to Mr. Scrivo?
To the chair.
Okay, Chair, can I speak to him?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Otino and Mr. Catania either were recently or are still business partners. When Mr. Catania was hired, that position in city code is a part-time position. The old city manager denied the health benefits. As it says on here, he was given health benefits as of, I believe, January this year. Mr. Otino, you said it's not a family plan, but his 2 children are on it.
Family would be husband, wife, children,
So what would you call
father, child.
but it's not just him, okay? I asked my husband if he was aware that Mr. Catania's health benefits had changed. I think it was the day after you took the position. He was unaware. Now my question to you, Mr. Scrivo, there's not supposed to be anything unethical going on here, and there's not supposed to be the appearance that something's unethical. If Mr. Catania and Mr. Rotino are or were recently business partners, and the position is a part-time position that does not get health benefits, while it may not be illegal to give him these benefits, is it unethical or is there an appearance of impropriety? Especially since he did not go to the council with this.
Mayor, I don't know the Mayor, I don't know the circumstances surrounding this, and I would certainly look into it. I will say that there is something with regard to the question. There is nothing that prohibits, I would agree with the resident, there is nothing that prohibits affording health benefits to part-time employees. Obviously, we're required to provide health benefits to full-time employees, but there is nothing in the law that prohibits providing health benefits to part-time employees, and that is a decision that the council can decide to make. So, I mean, that is the issue that I'm aware of, that I'm able to speak at today. I'm not able to speak specifically to hypotheticals regarding ethical conduct and non-ethical conduct. Neither the resident nor the governing body would want me to make such a decision without having reviewed all of the facts concerning it. And I'm sure that both the resident and the council would appreciate my thoughtful review of the situation and reporting back.
Yes, please, thank you.
So like I said, I didn't fight the old administration because I had anything against them personally. I fought them because what they were doing was wrong. I hope that you don't see me up here too often, but if you are doing something wrong, I will speak out.
Good evening, Carol Martinez, 30 Emerald Street.
Evening.
I am here today because I received an email that shocked me. The email concerned the reappointment of the city manager. What shocked me was the split vote. Mr. Mayor, you said that you were not aware of tomorrow's
I'm not aware of any
appointment.
contract being drawn up at this time.
Okay.
I heard there's one, I haven't seen one, so I can't answer to that.
My questions are, one, what was the process? What did the process consist of in, posting, of course, for the position? After that, what took place?
We posted it with the League of Municipalities in the state of New Jersey for a city manager. There were approximately, remember how many applicants?
About 34.
About 34 applicants. It was broken down by our personnel director to approximately 10.
May I speak?
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
I
No
I
more.
was involved a little more in the process, so I'll explain to you. We had about 34 applicants, people that applied. Of those 34, approximately half of them really did not have qualifications or criteria to even be really fully considered for it. So say of the 16 or 17 that were left, our HR director, Mr. Costa, picked the top 13 and did the first round of interviews, 12 or 13. He did the first round of interviews. And he then, for each person he interviewed, he gave us pros and cons of each of the applicants. Then the 5 of us looked at that, and we took those 13 applicants and we narrowed it down to 6.
What were the
6 or 7.
qualifications?
Of the ones that we interviewed?
Or the qualifications for the people that actually, needed to
But
apply, who qualified for the
when we
position?
looked at dividing them in half, okay, a lot of it was either that they had some form of experience in government of some sort, or they had a lot of business experience where they managed organizations where there was numbers of people that they were employed by. So
And-
we looked at people with business experience, and we looked at people with government experience kind of together.
Did city council set up this criteria?
Well, that's the criteria that we worked together with Mr. Costa on.
Well, how
And
many
a lot
years?
of that is, if you look at the League of Municipalities, they have some hiring procedures for the city manager.
Okay.
And they kind of spell out things that you should be looking for. So
Was that posted? I'm sorry, I didn't see the posting. I didn't look online, so what was the
Job?
were the qualifications posted?
The job posting was done by Mr. Costa. I believe it was posted on the League of Municipalities. And was it done on our website too? I'm sorry, he's here. It was not on our website. It was posted through the League of Municipalities with the qualifications there.
Okay.
And so what happened, let me finish the process, okay? So what happened is, of those 6 or 7, I think one person denied coming for the second round of interviews. We interviewed the remaining, and we interviewed them in a thorough manner. For example, we had a list of very technical questions that we asked of each candidate, and we actually graded them. We had a grading procedure that we all understood, and we graded how they answered each one of the technical questions, so it was fair. So that everyone was asked the same questions, and everyone was graded on them in the same criteria. Now, my view of it, and I'm interjecting a little bit of my view of it, we interviewed those people from the outside, and Mr. Rotino was also a prime candidate for that. He has been in that position now for about 4 or 5 months. So that is his experience to date in this position. Right.
Was there a requirement, I'm so sorry, was there a requirement as far as the years of experience in that position at all?
There
or-
wasn't any requirement as to years of experience. It was just having some experience
Okay.
in that position. Right. My feel on this was, going forward with this, that Mr. Rotino would be in the job for 6 months as an interim. And during those 6 months, he would be exposed to many of the requirements of that job. And many residents have spoken about what a good job he's done in redevelopment, and he has, and that was his focus when he was first hired. But that's not all the city manager does. So in the 6 months, we knew there were many things that were coming up that were important functions of a city manager, preparing or being part of the preparation of the budget, right? Labor contract, labor negotiation. We've had some grievance processes. Okay, so these are primary functions of a city manager. So I think it's only fair to give Mr. Rotino the opportunity to perform at those and let us evaluate that performance. So that's why, in my mind, I would feel we needed at least 6 months to give him the opportunity to experience those activities, and then let us as a council come back and make a decision and evaluate Mr. Rotino compared to the other people that we also interviewed and make a final decision. So in my mind, that should be the process that we started a major part of that process. I would like to follow that process through and then come together, do this final evaluation and make our decision. But
Thank
I'm
you.
speaking now as Kathy
Right.
Canestrino. This is not a consensus of the council. This is Kathy Canestrino's view.
Thank you. I understand that not everybody is going to agree on every single issue, but an issue or a topic or an appointment such as city council, I think it's so important that everyone should agree on. And if it doesn't happen, you will be sending the wrong message to the entire community. You know, everybody here was excited, or maybe not everybody, but many of us were excited to see a new city council. But it is disturbing at the same time to hear that one city council member mentioned something regarding Mexicans $10 an hour. And then I hear, and I will quote, an African-American person defending that they could say the word nigga. And that to me, you know, it's ignorance between the comment that exists between, you know, Mexicans and the African Americans. And I'm speaking. That right there proves
Please.
ignorance.
Please, officer.
That proves
please.
ignorance.
None of that. Stop.
This just opens the door for me to educate some people. Okay? Here it is. We have adults who complain constantly about Hackensack.
Excuse me, Ms. Martinez, I'm sorry. Just direct it towards me.
We have adults complaining that Hackensack does not have enough minority representation. But then, when we have minority representation, they don't represent anybody. It's themselves. We need equality, but we need equality when minorities represent all, not just their particular social group or ethnic background. I remember one day a student of mine said, "Miss Martinez, are you black?" This was a Spanish class. It was in between periods. And I took the time to educate my students because I felt like, what is black? So I stopped my lesson and I said, define black to me. African American, Miss Martinez. Okay. What is African American? Think before you say that. What is African American? Anybody born in the United States with African descent. Okay. So first, let's define American. So American is somebody that's born in the United States, right? The continent of America. I was born in Honduras. I'm American because I was born in the continent of America. But let's just pretend for argument's sake that American are for people who are born in the United States. So now, African American is for people who have descendants from Africa, people of color. So let's assume that every single person in Africa, which is a continent, is dark skinned. But they come here, so they're called African American. What about people who are light and are born in the continent of Africa and they have descendants here? Are they African American as well? So why do we accept that terminology? That's first, to be politically correct. Secondly, why is it okay for a black person, and I say this because that's accepted, for a person of color to say the word nigga when they get offended when somebody else says it? You have to be an example of how you want to be treated. I could get offended if I hear a black person and another black person calling each other nigga. It's whatever offends me. Who's to say my feelings are wrong? I'm half black. Just because my skin is not dark doesn't mean anything. My grandfather is from Spain. That's Europe. My grandmother is Native American from the continent of America. That's continent of America. So I'm mixed all over. My father is from African descent. So what does that make me? Nobody here is one race. The only one race we are is a human race. So we need to think differently. We want change, but we need to change ourselves, our thinking first. It is not okay for a Latino to call somebody else Mexicans just because they are other than Ecuadorian, Colombian, Honduran, whatever. It is not okay for a black person to say nigga and for another person not to say it. We shouldn't be saying that at all, period. It's ignorance. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez.
Hello, everyone.
Ms. Toomey?
Agatha Toomey, Anderson Street, Hackensack. I'm here tonight as a very concerned taxpayer. I'm here to comment in regard to the so-called rumor about Mr. Rotino potentially becoming our next city manager. When the current council ran for election, you vowed to take Hackensack back. You also said that you were going to hire with no political ties. Well, you got it. And when you got Hackensack, you handed it right over to Anthony Rotino, who already has begun to hand it over to the county. Bit by bit, the city is being dismantled. As per the email sent by Mr. Rotino to the mayor and council on September 20th, 2013, it states that a review of departments should be completed and any duplication that exists where the county provides the same service to the municipality should be eliminated or phased out. That can apply to almost all the departments. Are all our local services to the residents going to be given away? As an interim manager, Mr. Rotino should not have had such authority and control over municipal decisions. As an interim, why is he being allowed to revamp the entire city of Hackensack? During the council meeting of September 30th, Anthony Rotino spoke of the transfer of the Human Services Department. He stated that the city would save over $400,000. Let's begin by stating that although we do not begrudge the retaining of 2 dedicated employees within the city, that savings was overstated by at least $95,000, plus additional monies towards benefits for these employees and their families. In addition, Mr. Rotino holds a much higher salary than the prior city manager. Well, I guess you may feel he's entitled given the fact that he's currently holding 2 titles. But why did we even need a director of economic development when we already had a project manager and a city planner? The city of Hackensack has not needed this additional title in all these years. Besides the additional salary, this interim city manager has not 1, but 2 offices. One in the building department that was completely redone, and now the city manager's office, both of which were completely redone at his directive, all with new furniture, carpeting, paint jobs, phones, etc. Why, as an interim, did he find it necessary to redo the city manager's office? All this on taxpayers' dime. Let's now add Tom Amirado, the city's paid public relations consultant, another new position that was never necessary in the past. $78,000 plus benefits, and now he's not even being utilized by the entire council and is still receiving full compensation. Another Rotino crony added to the city payroll, Frank Catania, the city's new prosecutor. Let's ask Richard Salkin, our prior prosecutor, if he was ever given medical benefits for himself or his family. Yet, Mr. Rotino's friend has been given this expensive perk also on the city's dime. As an additional slap in the taxpayer's face, it has come to my attention that the Office of the Human Services Department has now been converted to an employee lunchroom. By the way, in that building, there's already a lunchroom. Why couldn't the interim city manager, director of economic development, decide to save the taxpayers some money by bringing the building department back to City Hall and selling that building? They not only have extra space on the 3rd floor, but now they have the entire welfare office to boot. Maybe he didn't want to give up one of his plush offices. The city's currently paying for 2 city managers because of your decision to terminate one of them after his reappointment for an additional year. Not begrudging him of what is owed to him, the error lies with our council. The savings from the transfer of the Human Services Department to the county seems minuscule after adding up all the expenditures this interim manager has racked up. The money was supposed to be savings for taxpayers. Instead, it went to Mr. Rotino's friends and himself. He stole from Peter to pay Paul. It just so happens Paul is his friend too. Not only do I hold a personal interest in what resulted from the closing of the Human Services Department, but I'm also a taxpayer in this town. Unlike Mr. Rotino, I live in this town, and I hold this town very dear to my heart. It seems that the only savings he's done is for himself and his cronies. The citizens of Hackensack haven't seen a dime. In fact, taxes have gone up. All this spending has been done within an 8-month period, and Mr. Rotino hasn't even been made permanent yet. Why was an interim allotted such privileges and freedom with our tax money? If he can do all this damage in such a short period of time, what is going to happen if he's made permanent? Unlike Mr. Rotino and his friends, I was raised in this town. My family came to this country and raised all of us in Hackensack. My mother still resides in Hackensack, and my husband and I have retired in Hackensack. These people do not have a personal interest here. They're out-of-towners that are only seeing money signs. They do not care about our community or the families that reside here. We come here as residents and taxpayers, urging you to reconsider keeping Anthony Rotino on the city's payroll. In closing, we ask that please take Hackensack back. And by the way, I retired from this municipality after 38 years of service, and you do still owe me a retirement clock.
Good evening.
Richard Salkin, Hackensack. A couple of things. First of all, I was very surprised that a member of the HEA would bring up another former member of the HEA, and whatever has happened between the family and myself, David Gelber was not fired. There was a discussion, and David Gelber resigned. That's the accurate history. You're welcome. Okay. John, before you said something, and this is why I got up to speak. You said you heard there was a contract regarding Mr. Rattino, but you haven't seen it. Did I hear you correctly?
There was rumors that there was a contract
Okay, I want to ask
being,
direct. Is there a resolution on tomorrow night to appoint him?
not as of yet, no. I do not have in my docket for tomorrow night, there's no
Can you
contract
direct the question
resolution.
to the city clerk and ask if there is a resolution?
I
in her
already
office?
did that. Ms. Clerk, is there a resolution for a contract tomorrow night?
Not that I've seen.
No.
You have what
Everyone
I've
say-
seen.
I don't mean to be disrespectful either way.
I understand.
But you're saying, not to my knowledge, not that I've seen, what is that, is that, can you ask the city attorney if he's prepared one that he's gonna send tomorrow?
Mayor, I have not.
Thank you.
There is not.
Okay?
All right. I want to bring up just, you spoke on behalf of, welcome back from your vacation, Kathy.
Thank you.
I hope it was a good one. And I guess you didn't expect to walk back into this, but you made it clear that you and Deputy Mayor Canestrino were no longer using the services of Mr. Amarato. When questioned, you said it's a personal matter. When you sought this position, John, you deliberately moved into a fishbowl. Now, you and Kathy can disassociate yourself from Mr. Amarato, but we're paying the freight. If he's not good enough for you two, why is he good enough for us? Please, why don't you want him? It's not personnel because he's not an employee.
Well, if you read in today's record, I pretty much made that clear. My reason was I felt there was a lack of disclosure in him working for the county on his RFQ. There was no mention of, it was mention of him working for the county under Pat Schuber, which was 15 plus years ago, no mention of him working under the county now with full-time benefits. And to me, that was enough.
Fair, thank you. I won't directly ask, but through you, Mrs. Canestrino, is that also your reasoning, or would you?
I agree.
And I take it the other three do not. Well, can I poll you? That doesn't disturb you, Ms. Greenman, you, Mr. Sims, or you, Mr. Battaglia? That not everything was disclosed to you when he submitted his?
It was disclosed.
It was disclosed.
Yes.
Mr. Sims?
I didn't see it.
You didn't, it wasn't told you and you didn't see it in anything that he submitted. Is that what you're saying? I'm trying to understand.
It wasn't
Let me clarify that. It was not in the RFQ.
Was there an interview process that you did with Mr. Amarato?
Yes.
Okay. Did the question come up? Was it repeated? If I could ask, if you don't want me to ask this, I won't. I'm just trying to find out why there's
No,
a
it did
split
not.
over this.
No.
There was no interview process, or it didn't come up during any interview.
When we spoke with him, it never came up that he worked for the county, to me anyway.
But Ms. Greenman knew.
Obviously, she said she did.
How did you learn it? If I may
Question
ask.
was asked, yes, of course. The mayor and the deputy mayor had asked Mr. Amarada whether or not he needs benefits. And he said, no, thank you, I don't need benefits because I work for the county.
That never happened.
Well, I can't leave you alone, so what's your story?
Listen, anybody that read the record every day know that Tony Morado used to work for the county. We're the spokesperson for the county. So we know that he was working for the county.
So you knew at the time?
Right. You know,
Back then, I
secret.
mean, you did your RFQs, when did you hire him, July or? Okay. So it didn't, you knew from day one, I guess?
Yes.
Yes. And you knew because he
May
came
I
out, he
point
didn't
out-
need benefits, he works for the county.
May I point out?
Yes.
He was being hired as a contractor, there would be no reason to offer him benefits. When you even asked that question. Thank you.
Good point, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Rich Gelber, head hater here, father of little hater. I have to say, seeing Agatha was really nice tonight. I don't know very few people that served 38 years with the city, but you ask anyone what kind of job she did in the city. She's the most compassionate, decent woman that I know. She does have me beat. I'm in my job 37 years. I'm the most senior person out of 3,000, and I will tell you that if I ever said or had any involvement with the word nigger in my job, my union, who gives good representation, would walk me to my exit interview, and I'd be home in 10 minutes after saying that. It is not accepted in the workplace. It's not accepted in the military. You can't go around saying that stuff and not expect. And for Ms. Getz to defend that and other people to defend that, that's outrageous.
All right, no back and forth, please. Please, Rich. Thank
I
you.
want to go back and forth, Mayor.
Okay.
I want to direct a couple of questions to Ms. Canestrino.
Surely.
Ms. Canestrino, you mentioned that the applicant pool, the applications for city manager were literally cut in half, the most qualified, and I understand that process. Tell me this, where would Mr. Rotino fit into that cut that you did? What side would he have been on, based on his government service?
Mr. Rotino did not have government service experience. I will agree with you there. But here's the position we were in. Mr.
Yes.
Rotino was doing an excellent job for us as our Director of Economic Development. We came to a point where we needed to have an interim period to look and do a search for a good city manager that would represent our city well, our residents well, our employees well, and our council well. That was our focus. And we knew this could not be done overnight. We were thankful that Mr. Rotino agreed to step in and perform 2 roles for us during that search period.
I appreciate that.
So
my real question is...
But at that point, let me finish here. So at that point, the decision was made to allow him to remain in that job for a period of time such that we could evaluate if he had the ability or the capability to perform in that role. And that would give us 6 months to do this search. That's the way I see it. It's the way I think I remember it, although some of us now think to 6 months doesn't. Basically, the only issue we're having now is when are we going to make our decision? Are we going to make it sooner or later?
That's
but
not
the decision
unreasonable
has
at all.
not been made.
And that's not unreasonable.
Right, the
But
decision
my
has not
question
been
is,
made.
if he had presented an application, I don't think he was even one of the interviewees, was he? Did you interview him for the job?
We were not going to interview him the job, in my opinion, until the 6-month period is over, so we can evaluate his performance fairly. As I said, we asked these applicants specific questions about budgeting, about the grievance process, about labor negotiations. So Mr. Rotino is given the opportunity to now perform in that role, and then be compared to the rest of the pool as to their performance in that role. Yes.
So you don't feel that if you reviewed his application as you did the pool of 34, where would his app have ended up? On the right side or the left side?
If he had never worked here for us?
Well, he only worked here for a couple of months in a very, very different capacity. And, not to interrupt,
understand.
Ms. DePasqua made a statement before about Mr. Rotino's incredible background, or she said the job advertised for background in economic development. Where did he get this experience? What town was it? What community did he develop? What big project was he involved in? I don't think building a house or buying a piece of land or renovating a home, I don't think that's an economic development person. Now, let's be fair about it. I really think he bought his way in here. I don't think that's too hard to establish. You guys fell hook, line, well, Ms. Canestrino, let's be fair. There are economic development qualified people. I don't know what degree Mr. Rotino has, because on different resumes, he either has a college degree or he doesn't. The only verifiable thing is he sold used cars on Route 46. What is he doing here?
He does have experience in the construction field. He does.
Okay.
And he does have experience in development. He does.
And I renovated our kitchen 20 years ago.
Rich, he was an active member of our transition team. And it was very important to us that the person that was in that position shared our vision for Hackensack.
Okay.
What did we see? These first few months were very critical, especially in the redevelopment arena. We had a whole new council here, right? And we wanted to portray the image that Hackensack is open for business, right? This is a new day, and we're ready, and we need someone who is going to be familiar with the construction business, familiar with the development within our county, and help us start this initiative, have a good strategy, market Hackensack. We needed to change Hackensack's image. We needed people to say, Hackensack? We wanted people to say, Hackensack, I'm coming there. Okay, and I really believe in the 9 or 10 months that we're here, that's what we're seeing. And we're seeing that on people's faces. We're seeing that on developers that are coming in here. And I have to give credit to Mr. Rotino for doing that. That he was a big part of that, as all 5 of the council members were here were in support of that. And that, to me, The main thing I ran on, and everyone that knows me, was financial stability. I believe that I owe that to the residents of this town. If I can achieve financial stability here, I think that the world is opening to us in our town and enabling us to do things like redevelop, like recreation centers and pools, the things we need. We have to achieve financial stability. And the key part of doing that, in my eyes, that I see, is redevelopment of our town.
I couldn't agree more.
So the person that was put in that position, I think all 5 of us agreed, had to share our vision, had to believe in our town, believe in what it should be and could be, and help us get there. And those were many of the primary considerations for having him in the position of redevelopment, director of redevelopment. Now, moving into whether or not he should be our city manager, right? He helped us fill a role. We had a gap. We enabled him, and I believe we offered him the opportunity to perform in that job and to be compared to the top of the people that we have interviewed, all right? And of those 5 or 6 people, I'd say there's 2 people out there that are outstanding, okay? And Mr. Rotino is the 3rd person, so that's being considered when he finishes his 6 months. Now, when his 6 months are done and we're able to interview him and compare his performance to those in the rest, the 5 of us will make the best decision. And please, people have to understand, our commitment is 100% to the city of Hackensack.
I have to
there is
believe
no
that.
personal
So
agenda
isn't
sitting
this
up here
something we
amongst
should
the 5 of
revisit
us.
in
There is
July?
none.
Mrs. Canestrino, is this something we should revisit in July?
Absolutely.
Okay, this isn't something that should be done tomorrow.
In my opinion, we should follow the plan, give Mr. Rotino the opportunity to complete that exercise, finish our interview process, do our analysis, talk together, the 5 of us, and make the best decision for the residents of this town. And that's what I think we should do. That's my personal opinion. You can poll everyone else and ask theirs if you'd like, but that's my personal opinion.
Just in closing, I'd just like to say something. I have seen in the past year an incredible change in this town. Now, of course, I live and work in Hackensack. I'm out of town, part of my time. If you left here tonight after this meeting and drove down Hudson Street, Fair Street, Main Street, you would be astonished at how the city's been cleaned up. It didn't happen by itself. They're the same police officers that were here under Padilla. They're the same police officers that were here under the previous chief. Something was right with this director. There has been a turnaround. We need a turnaround in other departments too. I think terrorizing the staff is crazy. Absolutely. How could there have been so much strife in such a short time? I think chasing out some of these people it's outrageous. And I think if we get back in a situation of having lawsuits coming in on every side, it doesn't help the situation. We're going to be back bonding again to pay off non-uniform personnel. Or maybe he'll start with the fire department.
Mr. Gelber, will you give us the opportunity to finish this process?
But Mrs.
That's
Canestrino,
all I'm asking you.
Don't frighten me that tomorrow this council is going to make a life-changing decision that will affect everyone in this room. I don't want to see that happen either.
I think that from what I hear from our city attorney, I mean, I was away on vacation and I pardon folks, I was gone for a few weeks, but I think what I'm hearing now is that there is nothing that we know of on the table at this point.
Mayor, through you, I take direction from the council. So unless you direct me to do something, I'm not doing it.
No direction from me.
I feel much better.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's been one hell of a night. I just want to make a quick statement, which is, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I will. I appreciate it.
To the clerk.
Joseph Barreto, Poplar Avenue. Thank you. The reason I came up is just an observation. I guess we're all here. We see that we're a city full of potholes. We have a park that we all want. We can't pay for it. We can't pay for it, and some of us don't want to pay for it. We have a police force that has done an outstanding job in lowering crime. And they're severely underpaid. And I think we need to negotiate this as soon as possible because I want them on our side, keeping us safe and doing the right thing. In addition, I hear sometimes people come up and I can't say that there's one person in here that won't say that they're for the children. But to be honest with you, we can build the biggest pool, the biggest park, the most luxurious gymnasium ever, and it won't mean a damn thing to our kids if we can't fix this dysfunction that's happening in this town and the dysfunction amongst the adults. To have people come up here and literally say that they're okay with using certain language as long as it's amongst themselves. As the guidance counselor in Harlem, 26 years, one of my students pulls that on me there, it's over. Parent gets called, it's disgusting. I'm Puerto Rican, someone calls me a spick, we're gonna have a problem. And I don't care if that person's my cousin or my friend, you know what, it's just disgusting. And to stand here and then try to justify it makes it worse. We have wonderful children in this city. Now that I'm on the school board, I'm gonna see them, I'm looking forward to this. But to be able to have people in our community think it's okay, that's disgusting and hypocritical. So, in closing, because everybody wants, I think, get the heck out of here, I have to just say, we need to work as a city together. We need to be civilized. The back and forth has to stop. And I've said that on other occasions here as well. It's okay to disagree. Be respectful and mindful of what you say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill White, 451 Washington Ave. One thing is I spoke to the council last time about making Washington Avenue on the north side a one-way. It's ridiculous. Cars are getting hit. Kids are out there playing. It's been going on and on forever, so we've asked. I was told that traffic was going to look at it. The second thing is I would like to thank the council and Mr. Rotini for making a decision in recreation for the best. We've dealt with them. We sat down with Mr. Rotini and Mr. Sims. Things were changed baseball-wise. We've had problems. There's been ups and downs with Sal doing our fields. Finally this week, everything was worked out, and we were told that Sal is back to working doing the fields, and I wanted to say thank you. The other one we have is football-wise. We have an abundance of kids from Maywood, Rochelle Park, and Hackensack that play in our program. Last year was 118 kids, 56 from Maywood and Rochelle Park. I understand the city's insurance changed, but I think it's a bunch of bull because they don't have a program. We offer the program here. We should provide insurance to our program. If not, we will not have a program in this town, or we would have to find $4,500 to pay for insurance. I spoke to Mr. Rotini. He's going to go back to the mayor and council. He also spoke to Art Costa, and we still don't have an answer on that, but Mr. Rotini has been working day by day, making everything else happen with Mr. Simmons. And I wanted to say thank you.
Kathleen Salvo again, good evening. I hope that we choose the next city manager with enough of attention and diligence that we picked our last CFO. I know a lot of research went in it, and I'm very happy with him, and he's really good. Nothing against Anthony, but we're a big city, and we need the best person possible for the job. He was picked for development or redevelopment, whatever you call it. He's doing a good job there, and he's filling in to help us with this. But to make this decision, this has to be an unanimous decision by the whole five of you. This has to be somebody that you feel is going to take it's a very important job. It's the most important job. I remember meeting Mr. Squillace, and Mr. Squillace said, mayors come to go, but I run the city. So it's the most important job in the city of Hackensack. Last year, this time, we were working our butts off to get you in there. We believe in the city for change. We believe in all the things that you believe in. We want you to come together. We hope there's nothing that's going to keep you apart. You have to, you could agree to disagree, but please don't, just work together. We have the police department, first of all, they need their raise like yesterday. They've been the best ever. It's ironic. When they weren't doing anything, when they were under the last person doing nothing, they were getting paid well. Now that they're doing their best, we're not even giving them their raise, and that's really ironic. So let's move ahead with that. Okay, so basically, that's what I'm asking you to do, is to go back there and whatever problems there are, just iron them out. And the other thing is the redevelopment. We either redevelopment or a city manager. It's very hard to do both, and we put them in to do both. So please go back and interview for the best person. The other thing too, I kept saying this, is that to bring Mr. LaCava back or Pete Capone back, somebody that knows the city of Hackensack, to work with these people so they know the ins and outs of our city. Because just to parachute him in here, it's not fair, because nobody knows, what we are up against, and there are a lot of issues. We have to know the past in order to move on to the present. Thank you.
Excuse me, Ms. Keeling, you can't come back up. I'm sorry. No, he came up the other, I'm sorry. Is there anybody else who would like to get up and speak? Seeing none, may I have a motion to close? Ms. Gelber, you getting up to speak? Are you coming up to speak? No. Okay. Motion to close?
I'll offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, at this time, anybody from the council like to speak?
Thank you for coming. I hope the problem with the police department can be solved by tomorrow. Thank you again.
Again, thanks to all of our police officers that came and sat through this long night. You know that I speak for the whole council when we say how much we appreciate all of your hard work and diligence. And as Mrs. Salvo brought up, I mean, it really shows. It shows not only on the faces of our police officers, but it shows on our streets and our community, and we are eternally grateful for that. The best news of the day, I think, when Police Commissioner Sims announced that our city manager and the PBA are going back to the table tomorrow. I'm confident that we're going to reach an amicable decision and put this behind us and let everybody get back to doing the good job that you've been doing all along. I just have to say a couple of words. I know it's late, about the park. I'm definitely in favor of the park, so you don't have to wonder where I'm going. I'll say that right out front. But I want everyone to understand that working on redevelopment and doing an activity such as building a park and an open space in our downtown, and working on a recreation center, and doing paving our roads, these are not dependent events, they're independent events. They happen in parallel. Just because we're going to do some work in our downtown doesn't mean we're not also working towards getting started with our recreation center. As Mr. Attino said, we're working with our legal staff, understanding the Green Acres requirements. I know both Councilman Battaglia and Councilman Sims are looking to get a recreation committee together that is members of the council with members of the community. We need to understand, what does the community want in a recreation center? We need to start from scratch. What do we really want? What do we really need? And help us start to raise some of these funds. I mean, that's the first step in that process. And it's happening. And we're marching along to that beat. But think about the number that Mr. Attino threw out to you. Think about $12 million for this recreation center, right? Think about something I said a few minutes ago, I think when I was talking to one of the, I think it was Mr. Gelber. Financial stability. How do we get control of our budget process? Thank God we have a new CFO. And managing the expenditures of our city and being able to afford doing many of these things that we all know we want and need. How do we do it? How do we afford $12 million for a recreation center? Yes, we're going to try and get some folks to contribute to that, and we're probably going to be bonding for some of it. How do we afford those things? We need to grow our city. We're a gem. You know, we're right in the middle of Route 4, Route 80. We have 2 train stations. We have a bus terminal. We could take you anywhere in Bergen County on that bus. We could take you into the city. We're an unclaimed jewel. And I think all of us would be irresponsible if we didn't try and promote that jewel, uncover it, polish it, right? And the way to do that, the way to stimulate growth, and it's a proven fact, town after town, our city planner Fran got up and talked about this. To do these things, you have to invest some money. You have to do that, but you have to have an aerial view. You have to look from above and say, where are we going to be? Where do we want to be in not just next year, but in 3 years, in 5 years? Where do we want to be as a city? And how are we going to be able to attain these things that we know we deserve as residents of the city? The way to do that is to grow our city, increase our ratables, get more people contributing to the tax base so that we can afford these things. And someone brought up a comment before, how are we going to afford these two-way streets and how are we going to do that? You know that I'm always very worried about these things. And I'll tell you, early on, the council, together with our Director of Economic Development, together with Fran, we worked on timeline numbers of exactly what these bonds are going to cost, what's the impact to our city, and how we had to get 3 projects started. And we did. We have Capadaglia's project on State and Warren, we have 150, 170 Main that's going to be starting, and we have 210 Main that are ready to start, right? We had to have those 3 because the return on investment, what they were paying in taxes and what they're going to be paying in taxes, that money is going to subsidize whatever bonding we need to do to make these things happen. This is the world today. This is how these things happen. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe in our town. And I'm asking you to please reconsider your feelings about putting this park together. It's like a 50% off sale. For all you women in the store, you know, you walk by, you want that dress, and the day it comes 50% off, you go in and buy it. We have the 50% off sale right now on that park. I say, believe in your town, believe in us, and let's move forward with it. Thank you for coming tonight.
Mr. Sims?
Like the deputy mayor said, I hope this week we can work out the contract with the police officers and get the ball rolling. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and voicing your opinion. Some good, some bad. Let's try to work together and make this work. Thank you.
Ms. Greenman?
Okay. I'm going to reiterate the same thing. Thank you for coming, and hopefully the contract is going to be worked out to everybody's satisfaction. I also want to raise another point. In this time, this season, we are commemorating 71st anniversary of Warsaw Uprising. It began on April 19. It ended on May 16, 1943. This commemoration honors the armed revolt by Jews against Nazi German forces. And you would think that would have been the end of it. Unfortunately, that's not the case. The same principles are still at work here and now. And all of the things, all that we can take out of this horrific incident, we can still apply to our lives here and now. And what I think the philosophy of this is that you have to stand up for what you believe in. Unfortunately, the racism and anti-Semitism exist. It is here and now. And I'm going to quote somebody, and some of you may know of the person and some of you may not, but I'm going to read it to give justice to what the person had said. The statement is attributed to a pastor and theologian by the name of Martin Niemöller. And he addresses the dangers of silence, complacency, and evil. A problem of haters. And he said, and I want to assure you that I'm going to say something that has been reinterpreted and interpreted and said in many different ways. The version I'm using now is used and quoted by the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum. And Pastor Niemöller said, first, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out again because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one to speak out. I can't do any better. So what I'm going to say is thank you to everyone who raised their voice and brought their belief and supported us. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Mayor, excuse me, may I say something before you close?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I sit up here week after week, and I've been called names, I've been hanging out here, I've been very quiet, I take it all like a gentleman. But when misinformation is given, you know what, I'm forced to speak out. I want to thank the people that came here tonight in support of me, I truly appreciate it. I've never been foreclosed on, I don't have, excuse me, sorry, I didn't interrupt you when you were speaking.
No comments.
I never,
No comment except for Mr. Rotino at this time. Thank you.
like I said, I've never been foreclosed on. I've worked hard my entire life. I've had companies that had 250 employees, saved the city money and with insurance, the administration fee, we saved $500,000. We did save over $400,000 when we eliminated the Human Services Department welfare, if you want to call it that. We gave the clients a better service because they were going to Rochelle Park anyway. And the two people we were able to keep, we kept through in the city through attrition. It wasn't an added salary, it was through attrition. The lunchroom over there where the Human Services used to be was at the request of the fire department for the people in the health department to help them outside a break room that was close to there. We sold about 60 vehicles that were sitting down by the DPW. During the snowstorm, when no one could get salt, we got salt because of connections that I had that we were able to put together. I stand by everything that I've done. I've made some decisions in this city that were not easy to make, and they're not going to be popular with everybody. No one wants a police contract more than I do. I think you guys are great. You do a wonderful job. You want to come out and voice your opinion tonight? That's fine. That's what this is all about. You know, certain criteria that I have to follow by state law, and I've exceeded it. I'm trying to do the best I can to come up with money to make you guys happy. The CFO, the attorneys, and I have spent countless hours trying to make it work, and we'll take another crack at it. We'll do the best we can for you. We appreciate everything you guys do. I think you're phenomenal, and you know the city needs you, and we all need you to keep doing the phenomenal job you're doing. Director Mordaga has my utmost respect. He's been trying really hard to work for you guys, with you guys, to get this all done. I do have a college degree. I graduated at a 3.99 summa cum laude. I didn't sell cars on Route 46. I don't know what to tell you. I do the best I can. I got my heart and soul into this city. With redevelopment work and with our planner, we've done great things. We've done great things. And like I said, yeah, there are some people gone now that were here before that probably shouldn't have been here. Absolutely. Like I said, this job is not the easiest job. There's hard decisions that have to be made to get things done. And we're working toward it. It's a group effort. So for those of you that came here to support me tonight, I want to say thank you. For the guys that I work with every day that came out here tonight, I want to say thank you. To the council, they came to me in December and asked me if I sit into this, fill in here. I didn't ask for this. It was funny when the deputy mayor said something to me about, a change that's going to be happening. I think my exact words, oh God, I don't want that job. And she said to me, oh, you don't want to be interim? And I said, I'll never leave you hanging. I'll be there for you. When it comes to Mr. Catania's health benefits, Mr. Catania started here back in July. He was given paperwork when he started here saying he was entitled to health benefits, signed by the previous city manager, court administrator. He has paperwork from Human Resources offering him health benefits. There was a legal opinion done at the time saying that he could have health benefits. So I followed protocol. I went, I spoke to a member of the council. I was given a directive to either, and he was working less than his predecessor because he was told that was what was going to happen. So I was given a directive at the time and I followed through with it. So like I said, you know what? I take the blame for a lot of things because that's my job to do it. But you know what? It's just, like I said, a lot of hard decisions have to be made doing this job. And I don't regret anything that I've done. I truly don't. I'm proud of what I've done for the city. I'm proud of the things that I've done here and with everybody else. And if the council wants to give me the job at some point, that'd be great. If they don't want to give it to me, that's fine too. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rotino. I want to thank everybody for coming, our police officers. It's great that you came out here and express your opinion. And like you mentioned, times are tough, and I want to see this thing work out more than anybody. All right, and I'm sure this will work out. Everybody will get back in the room and get on it and get it done. I'll tell a little story about this whole thing with the N-word, as I call it, because I don't even like to say the word. Coaching in Hackensack, obviously you're going to coach a diverse group of kids, And that word seemed to be used, and I know what the woman was saying when she spoke as a term of endearment amongst each other, just amongst each other. I was coaching, like I said, a diverse team. I had a young Italian boy named Raymond Pila working on the team who was trying to fit in with everybody. And he mistakenly used that word with some of the African-American youth, and they proceeded to beat the living hell out of the kid. And I was like, I was just, you know, you don't know what to do. And I told the kids not to use the word previously. Now here I have a situation, and their answer is, he can't say it, I can. And that's not right. That's not fair. It's just ridiculous that youth are taught that that's okay to use that word. It's not. And for reasons like that, look at the harm that came out of it. This young man could have been injured just for doing something innocent. He didn't realize he wasn't allowed to say that word. He didn't know it was a bad word for a young white Italian kid to say to an African American. So, you know, there's a lot of, you know, that word just doesn't belong in our vocabulary. You know, we're trying to hope to get, our society gets past that. I agree 100% with what Mrs. Canestrino was talking about on the city. I'm a firm believer in, this rehabilitation plan wasn't started by this council, guys. It was started by the past council, and I'm 100% behind it, as I believe most of the council is also. It's, if you take a plan and you start chopping it out a little bit here, a little bit there, sooner or later you're not going to have a plan anymore. That's what's going to happen. It's going to fall apart. This isn't that huge of an investment, like Mrs. Canestrino said. $300,000 for this park isn't going to stop us from having a community center or a pool. But I'll tell you what, not developing the city, I guarantee you're not going to have a community center and you're not going to have a pool. All right? You have to look at the big picture here. You have to have some vision, and that's what we have had here, and that's what we've been sold by our planners. And you know, this city just received the Smart Growth Award from the in the state of New Jersey. It's the #1 place to develop in the state of New Jersey. I mean, that's happening for a reason. Now, if we start knocking things out, oh, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, forget the streets, forget this, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to happen because the developer is going to say, you know what, I guess they really weren't serious, and you know, they're going to turn and run. So projects, this is a small project, all right? I mean, these numbers sound big, but in the overall picture of things, they're not huge numbers. And we can, you know, it's a balancing act. We do potholes. We're still going to build a community center, hopefully, try to get a pool, do some more paving. But Main Street right now is the focus. The development of all these projects is to raise the ratables so that we're able to do these things much more easier. We're working on the potholes, believe me. But, so my vote is yes for the park. I'm saying that in advance, like the deputy mayor did. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It was, you know, we knew it was going to be a rough night tonight, and hopefully we're all the better for it tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good evening. Good ride home. Thanks.
You have a resolution.
Oh, sorry, got to close. Offer to close the meeting, please. Thank you, Mr. Pascal.
The closed session?
Mayor,
Go in
executive
open
session.
All right, we need to do the resolution.
Need a resolution for executive
Resolution to
session.
go into
Closed session.
executive session. Thank you.
The resolution calling for an executive meeting of the City Council for the following purposes. Whereas the mayor is necessary to discuss certain actions under Section 7B7 and 7B8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, which pertains to matters falling within attorney-client privilege, ongoing litigation, and personnel matters concerning the employment of a current or prospective public employee. Whereas the mayor and council of the city of Hackensack is of the opinion that such circumstances may presently exist, and whereas the township council wishes to discuss the following issues: personnel matters, ongoing litigation, matters involving attorney-client privilege. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the city of Hackensack deem it necessary to exclude the public from this discussion. The outcome of the discussion will be disclosed within 90 days, or at such time as the interests of the city do not require confidentiality. We need a motion.
I have a motion, please.
I'll offer.
All in favor? Okay. Litigation, please.
Mayor, the litigations this evening will be the Weist case, the Warden case, the Viola case, and Birdsall Engineering. And the contractual negotiations are regarding PBA.
Thank you, thank you. Take a quick recess so we can use.
List pendants, I'll be happy to give it to you.